You know, it may sound like a scene from a Hollywood sci-fi movie. Here on Earth, we've rarely had to deal with incoming asteroids making its way to Earth, but NASA, they are taking no chances. In fact, overnight tonight, NASA is going to launch the Double Asteroid Redirection Test. It's also known as DART, so this is kind of an image of what it's going to be. It's the first of its kind attempt to do this. DART will test the idea of deflecting an asteroid by colliding with the small moonlet in a double asteroid system. So let's have the expert tell us all about it. One of the Deputy Director of Planetary Science Division, Ianson, joining us. Good morning to you, Eric.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here because we'd love to have you explain what exactly is DART. What is this mission going to be attempting tonight?
So DART is the first ever planetary defense mission in which we are trying to alter the trajectory of an asteroid. Oh. And in this case, we're actually going to run a spacecraft directly into this asteroid and try and change its motion enough so that we can measure it accurately from telescopes on Earth. And the particular asteroid that we are trying to hit is called Dimorphos. It's actually a moonlet that's orbiting around a slightly larger asteroid. It's 530 feet in diameter, so that's about the height of the Washington Monument. Oh. And asteroids of this size present a hazard to Earth. Now, these particular asteroids do not, but that's one of the reasons that we're using this for this test.
So you'll be testing it and aiming at a moonlet, so the smaller object. Why exactly is that, and why don't you go for the big asteroid?
Well, actually, Dimorphos and the larger asteroid Didymos are a binary asteroid system. And this actually creates this is where the smaller asteroid orbits around the larger asteroid. Okay. And this actually creates a perfect laboratory to run this test. Because what we're able to do is, since the smaller asteroid has a relatively slow speed that it's orbiting around the larger asteroid, we're able to detect the change in its motion relatively easily in comparison to trying to track the change in motion around the sun of a larger asteroid.
I see.
And also, the other thing that's important is because Dimorphos is trapped in orbit around Didymos, by conducting this test, we aren't really changing the trajectory around the sun, so we aren't creating a hazard for Earth. Gotcha. with this test.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to risk that, of course. Dimorphos, Didymos now will become, I think, kind of terms that people will hear about, it seems, because this is the first time you guys are going to be attempting this. Tell us, Eric, why is this so important to do? I mean, are we actually going to be threatened by asteroids here on Earth? Is this a possibility that you're hoping to prevent?
Well, one of the things that you may be surprised to learn is how common asteroid impacts are. It's a naturally occurring phenomenon, and every day, 80 to 100 tons of material enters the Earth's atmosphere. And typically, these are pieces of dust and small meteors, and they burn up in the atmosphere relatively quickly. And thankfully, no known asteroids are large enough to penetrate our atmosphere that we know of in the next 100 years.
Okay, good.
However, the key thing is the ones that we don't know about. Yeah. And there are many asteroids that are out there that we have not discovered yet. And it's really important for us to make sure that we can find those asteroids and then have techniques so that if we need them and an asteroid is coming towards Earth, we have a way in which we can deflect it and prevent it from hitting the Earth.
And I mean, it's not like they're moving slow, right? They're not necessarily going to give us a big warning, hey, we're coming, right? I mean, tell us about that. It could enter our atmosphere by surprise, perhaps?
Well, typically we'll have some idea when something is coming, especially the larger it is. But there are asteroids that have very low visibility that are hard to be able to track. So it's really important for us. We're working with other federal agencies, NASA's working with other federal agencies and countries around the world to be able to better track and categorize all of these asteroids that are out there so that we have a good warning system in place such that we can develop a mission to be able to intercept it if we need to.
Okay, and I will ask too, I wanted to ask Eric also why you're redirecting. In fact, I just want to point out on this imagery that we have here that you guys sent us, it's going to be nudging this moonlet, as Eric was saying, and that's the bigger asteroid right there in the middle. So why are we redirecting and not blowing it up, if you can explain?
Yeah, so blowing up an asteroid that's headed towards Earth is a really bad idea, because right now if you have one large object headed towards Earth and you blow it up, then you've got thousands or millions of things heading towards Earth, and that's really bad.
Yeah, please don't do that.
what we really want to do is just give it a slight nudge. So if you think about the Earth orbits around the sun, and if something is coming towards it, if you could just slow it down enough, then the Earth will safely pass by and we won't have any issues. And that's really what we want to do, is just be able to make small modifications so that we're not creating additional space debris, but we're just slowing things down or speeding things up such that they will miss us.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I don't know, I just got this app that allows you to see where the stars are and what's kind of in our skies. And we end up seeing a lot of space junk and debris and things like that. Is that something you're watching out for constantly?
Yeah, that's another thing that NASA does and other agencies do as well, is we try and track all the things that are out there and try to make sure that there aren't collisions. And our spacecraft that are orbiting Earth, when there's a potential for a hazard of one thing hitting another, we make maneuvers in order to be able to avoid them.
We are glad you're doing that, Eric. Yeah, really. I mean, the planetary defense with NASA, you guys are doing very important work, stuff that hopefully means we're not going to hear about these things coming towards Earth. Also, just real quick before we go, Eric, we're going to be obviously watching this starting tonight, but can people keep track of what happens to Dimorphos after, you make the little nudge happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So the impact will actually happen in September of 2022. So we'll be talking more about it then. But you can follow everything that's happening in many places. So NASA's website, nasa.gov/DART, is a great place to find information. You also can follow us on your favorite social media platforms using the hashtag DART mission.
Great. Okay.
And then tonight you can watch us on NASA TV. So lots of places for you to get involved and watch this mission. Okay.
So it launches tonight. We have it right there on our screen, 10:21 p.m. You see the website as well. And then September next year, that's when this could come together. All right. Eric, thank you very much for explaining this to us. I appreciate you breaking it down in a way that's simpler to understand. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Go DART.
Yeah, go DART. DART mission. There you go.